won't you sail with me out on the rolling sea? We'll find some place to go, maybe down to Barbados. It's an island off somewhere in the middle of nowhere, sailing to freedom, you and me.
What in the wide ocean of intricacies is all of this? Pages upon pages.
It's the customs declaration forms. It's not complicated, is it?
Not complicated, Bart. Look at this list. Codes and exceptions, exemptions, and recalibrated rates. So I have completed and filed the Form 3 under Section 78 of the Customs Act Part 2 for exporting the boat from the current factory with 2 copies, one filed with the customs and one with the factory. So we should be good to go to move my boat.
No. You needed to file Form 2, not Form 3, and it has to be under Part 3, not Part 2 of Section 78 of the Customs Act.
Form 2? Oh, bugger. Surely it can't matter too much. And then to re-import the boat, I also completed and filed Form 2 under Section 55 of the Customs Act Part 3.
No, it should have been Form 3, not Form 2 under Section 5 of the Customs Act Part 2, not Part 3.
So basically all the numbers are right, but slightly out of order. Can't do too much harm then.
Well, according to what you just told me, you have exported the boat from Da Nang to Khe Sarn.
She'll be right, mate.
Well, Khe Sarn is 60 kilometers inland without a river to get to it, so you won't be able to get the boat there, and there is no boat building facility there to finish the boat.
Sounds like par for the course on sailing into freedom. Maybe I buy a big tent then.
G'day people, I've held off making this video for almost 3 weeks because I thought I was making this video 3 weeks ago. As you know, we've been trying to do the paperwork to transfer the boat from one factory to another. It's not a simple process of just sticking it on a barge and finding another shipyard up the river. We had to export the boat from Barson and then re-import it under a new contract number that's registered with customs. Because remember all the hassles we had with all of the importation of the equipment. If we didn't get these 2 contract numbers lined up, so one for export, one for re-import, well, I would have had to pay all these duties on the re-importation of the boat because the equipment goes with the boat, something like that. Anyway, this is way too complicated for me to handle, so Odyssey's got an agent, very lovely lady, and she's in charge of it. And it's just basically going from one government department to another and doing the right forms and getting it through. So it's taken a long time. Yeah, I know, a long time. But I've got news. This is the 3rd time I've done this video because I did the video and then I got the news. We're actually moving on Christmas Day. So we've got a Christmas present to everyone. Surely the hassles aren't going to stop there. Sailing into freedom. So all things good. I've also got to do another visa run on the 24th. I know. So on Christmas Eve, I've got to nick off to Cambodia by bus and wait at the border for 4 hours and do the usual. And then come back, and then I've got to zip down to the Barson factory from Ho Chi Minh and help pack up all of the gear, all the boxes and all the equipment. Load them onto a truck, and then we've got a barge. Now, I'm not sure how many boats the barge takes. That was organised by the Odyssey agent, but hopefully all 6. And I think the goods are going to go into a container, and they're going to go on a truck. So there you go. That's some good news. Oh, also things that we left out. Vung Pao, sorry. Anyone knows anything about the Lao War, Vung Pao, General Vung Pao? But anyway, Vung Tao, we also got to get permission from the Port Authority to transport the boats up. So lots of departments, but it's all taken care of, I think, now. But I don't know if I can do a live stream because my internet's pretty lousy, and I imagine in the middle of the mangroves coming up to Ho Chi Minh, it's going to be bad. But I'll see what I can do. But I'll do another video of the move. So sorry about the delay, but looks like things are going well, finally. And with the new year, hopefully we're all going to start pushing all the work into completing the boats. So I'm very excited. I hope you're excited. I'm a bit tired, people, because, lack of sleep and all of that. But finally, maybe I can get a good night's sleep. Who knows? Who knows? I must admit, now I can admit, well, I should be admitting this when we're actually moving the boats. Maybe I should do that. Well, look, regardless, I've already started. I must admit I was very, very worried about everything in this project over the last few months, last year. But I think it's all good now. And I didn't want to say anything, so I don't want you to think that I've been keeping anything from you. Loose lips, sink ships, that sort of thing. But it's okay. It's all good now. So hopefully, sailing to freedom, hardly anything goes wrong in this channel anymore. No, it's hardly anything goes right in this channel anymore. It's one of those. I don't know, people. Sailing to freedom. This guy making a tough go of it. Oh, he's biting me. Ah!
The beach sifters are out and about. Not quite sure what they're sifting for. Maybe I can find out.
I'm at a place called Moi Ner, which is 2 or 3 hours outside of Saigon on the beach, as you can see. Beautiful day in paradise. Although I'll show you all the rubbish that's washed out from Taiwan and Japan and China. I mean, literally, you wait till you see it. Although we had some big tides, so most of it's washed away. But check out these guys. I'm trying to work out what these guys are doing. They're gathering shells. I thought they were trying to gather live pippies, like the live little cockles, like the little ones, and then they sell them to the river farmers, and they feed them up, and then they sell them to the restaurants. But it seems like they're not grabbing the pippies at all. They're grabbing just the shells.
These big shells are discarded. They like the smaller shells like this.
So basically they're just sifting the sand, and not just males, there's females that do it as well. I should also point out that whenever you see Vietnamese laying bricks, the guys are laying the bricks and the girls are making the cement. And so they're mixing it, not in a cement mixer, it's just like on a flat board, and they're just mixing it up. So they do hard work. It's a different place, people. Different place, different time. I don't think Western women would survive here at all.
Here is one of the sifters. Basically the shells make their way into the green sock, and when it gets too heavy, he loads it into the bags. Imagine 100 times all of this waste, and that's what it was like a few days ago.
It's actually looking quite clean. So we had a late typhoon that came. It sort of stalled about 150 kilometres off the coast, but it just brought an amazing amount of crap on the beach. It brought old nets, tyres, you name it. There's bits of boat. Oh, there's a bit of boat up there. It was just literally covered. Tarps, heaps of bags. Unbelievable, man. Now, I think in the last, because we had some we had some trade winds, so 20 to 30 knot winds, and so basically it's that direction, so it just blows all of the stuff and goes down to the next beach. But because this part of Vietnam is slanted, I think it must just go all the way to Thailand and Malaya, or Malaysia. So bye bye rubbish. And this is the last sand dune that I can fly. Remember the last one that was flying? Well, they put a development there and they completely cut it off. So it's gone. Now this is quite short. Now I haven't flown this, but I'm going to need strong winds because it's not that high. But when it's good conditions, I will fly this. But there's a development on the other side, so this isn't going to last that long either. Okay, it's another day. I just helped him put all the bags on. They're heavy. That's like probably 35 or 40 kilos for each bag because it's still wet. So I butched up all the footage from yesterday when I was wandering along. I was pressing the button and it wasn't on video, it was on camera. So I was just getting stills. So all of my witty comments have gone! Bugger. So I've now got to think of all the witty comments that I made. There's probably like 1 out of 70. See, if they were trying to make lime, the big shells would have more calcium carbonate and you just boulder it up and smash it up. So you just get more calcium carbonate and you can make calcium oxide by you heating it in an oven. But they don't take the big thick shells. So then I'm thinking, why do they want the small shells? And I'm thinking, maybe they need it for the chickens. Because the chickens need calcium for the eggs. And so maybe they have a, maybe they crush them a little bit more. Maybe the chickens just eat the shell and that gives them enough calcium to make all the eggs. But I don't know. I just asked him and his answer, my translate never works properly. Google's hopeless. Google cannot do Vietnam to English. But then I got this other translator, which is supposed to work, but his answer was they were about. So I don't know what that is. I'm going to try and find someone today who is going to tell me the answer. I'll ask these people. Alright, it's still a mystery. I just asked her and my previous answer was they were about, and this one is I get them home. This is my little helper. He lives up over here. Ooh. Come on. You coming? And here comes his little sister, all alone in this big bad world. They just scavenge along the beach. But she's very suspicious. I go to the butcher and get them scraps, or I feed them roast pork. They love carcasses, like yours truly. What do you use the shells for? There you go. Top stuff Google. Okay, so basically he doesn't use it. So now I have to frame the question, what do other people use shells for? What do people use the shells for? But I'm good, I'm home. So, good morning. Thank you. It seems such a simple question. Are these bags of shells used for increasing the calcium in the soil? Okay, apparently not. Maybe she doesn't know what calcium is. But from looking up Vietnamese soil content, it's high in acidity. Sorry, low in acidity. No, high in acidity. Low in the pH, people. Work it out. And I think they do it to neutralise it. But my investigative journalist skills suck. Oh, as an addendum, I'm just going to give you an idea of the depths that my mind goes to in philosophical problems that I have seen in movies recently. Now, has everyone seen the movie Oblivion? When there's a whole lot of Tom Cruises, they're all cloned? Well, theoretically, I don't want to wreck the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, it's actually a really good movie. But theoretically, when they win, and there's one wife left, so this one wife is technically married to one Tom Cruise, right? But they've cloned him, right? And the original Tom Cruise has died and gone wherever. So there's 52 of them technically left on Earth. Well, one of them dies because it takes the bomb up to the spaceship. So there's 51 left. And we see at the end of the movie, number 52 eventually finds her little hideaway, and he's been searching for years and years and years. So number 52 goes there, and she goes, oh, this is that. Well, it doesn't really do that, but you think in the future how nice it is. It's a happy ending. But what about the other 51 of them? Or actually 50, because one of them died. What happens when the 50 turn up? I mean, is she going to have a roster? Is she going to double time? 3 times? Oh, you, fight to the death? And then I'll have one at the end? What's she going to do, people? This is what was plaguing me yesterday at the end of the beach. You're welcome, people. You're welcome.